How's it going, guys? After 3 months of grinding away at Lies of P, I finally managed to beat this game hitless. This means we went through the entire game without receiving a single instance of damage from any enemy or boss for the entire playthrough. Today, I'm going to show you guys how I managed to beat Lies of P hitless. For the entire run, we are going to focus on upgrading our technique stat, as our main weapon we will be using for the run will scale well with it. We are also going to level our P organ to get the most damage possible out of our character. We skip picking up the pulse cells at the start of the game to take advantage of some of these upgrades in our P organ. These will grant us many different benefits whenever our pulse cell charges are all used up. So instead of spending all of our pulse cells every time I want to take advantage of these buffs, I don't have to spend so much time doing so. Plus, it's not like we're going to be healing in the run anyway. At the start of the run, we choose the Dexterity starting class and head off towards the first boss, Parade Master. Before getting to the boss, we pick up the lightning buff for our weapon, since the boss is weak to it. Blue doo doo. You're good, man. That's good to hear. Hide in plain sight, welcome in. Ain run, go fuck yourself. I mean, what's up? Capital D colon, I'm just kidding. What's up, Ain? How are you? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Imaginary. What's up, bro? Elysian Boulevard is a very tough early game running section, plagued with a ton of enemies. We run through it for the most part, taking advantage of rolling into a lot of the weaker puppets to stagger them, allowing us to run past safely. We eventually make it to a wandering merchant, who actually has a lot of useful things for us early on in the game. We're going to pick up a weapon we will use in a little bit, the electric coil head, as well as some throwing cells, legion mags, and resistance ampules. We're going to make use of our new coil to get another new weapon from this puppet patrolling the street before the Mad Donkey fight. I utilize a strat here that always works when you execute it this way. You lure the puppet inside the archway, hit him with a Fable Art into an R1, and then sprint to the ladder and climb immediately. You need to be somewhat quick here during this part so that the enemy's stagger meter doesn't diminish. You then plunge attack the puppet, which causes a mini stagger. During this mini stagger, 2 fully charged R2s will stagger him fully, allowing you to take the riposte and take him down. Moving forward, we are met with the Mad Donkey fight on the bridge, but we're going to do a little bit of a cheese strat here. If you lead the donkey all the way back to the start of the bridge before starting the fight, you can leash his AI and puppet string him in the back, then take a backstab. There's a small chance that the donkey can roll out of our grab, but this is why we picked up those Legion mags earlier from the merchant. We take down the donkey relatively easy and head to the Scrapped Watchman. Before heading into the fight, however, we pick up the Puppet Destroyer amulet in a chest just outside of the boss room, which will increase our damage dealt to puppets overall. Now, as we deal with the Scrapped Watchman, I choose to use the weapon we picked up earlier from the puppet patrolling the streets, as that weapon is the Police Baton. The reason I like this weapon so much for the fight is because the Watchman actually resists lightning damage, which makes the coil less than an ideal choice. The baton also does really solid poise damage, which will allow us to take advantage of staggers and ripostes. What's up, Benevik? And will you play if okay, Ain, here's what I've been cooking something up behind the scenes, chat/Ain. I'm gonna make Ain, chat, a Mario level to play on his stream. And he has to play it. And he's not going to be able to beat it. You're down? I know you're down. You'll do it? I'm going to make him a level. And he's going to get absolutely destroyed. And not be able to beat it. Alright? No, the level will be 100% beatable. Can it have Mariesi in it? I could, yeah. Wilkie, I think I missed you. How are you doing, man? It's good to see you, bro. Hi, Jake. How are you? Any whales, dude? Call it Ana, see? No, I can't make it on stream because Ana will cheat and just watch. When have I ever cheated? Custom Ain sprite, dude, yeah. Add good music? I guess I could do that. I'm probably just gonna make it the most annoying music possible. TBH. Does that have a hitbox? It probably does, right? What is this RNG? We take down the Watchman and return to the hotel for the first time in the run. At the hotel, we level up our electric coil to +2 and then purchase some items from the shop. We're going to grab the 2 quartz sold at the shop to add to the 2 we already have in our possession. We also stock back up on some sawtooth wheels as well as some Legion mags. As far as what we're going to spend on the P organ, we're going to basically focus on anything that will help us on our journey to be hitless. While there are many great options to choose from initially, I tend to unlock things that are more important and relevant to the upcoming sections of the run and put off other things that can wait until later. Starting off, I choose to unlock Link Dodge by slotting charged heavy attack damage boosts as well as charged heavy attack stamina consumption down. Next, I choose to upgrade our Fable slots by slotting Fable attack damage boost as well as extra ergo gained from enemies. Before we leave to Vanini Works, I upgrade my capacity stat to 10 and technique stat to 15, and then we set off. Inside Vanini Works, I run through the factory while avoiding all the puppets and traps along the way. I fight the puppet of the future in the corruption-filled lake as well because I want the quartz that it drops. You're able to drain this lake of the corruption and fight the puppet without the poison pestering you. However, I choose to just use resistance items and make pretty quick work of the boss before the poison could even cause any issues. We also pick up the booster glaive weapon for later, also in the lake, and return to the hotel before taking on the boss of the area, Fuoco. At the hotel, we head to the P organ, and I choose to upgrade how many amulets my character can wear by slotting weapon attack boost when discharged, which gives us a 10% boost to damage when we have no pulse cells remaining. This is the first buff we get that is tied to us using up our pulse cells. But for now, we also slot slower stamina consumption from running, and then we leave the hotel, return to Vanini Works, and head into the boss fight, Fuoco. The strat I have for Fuoco is to save all of my Fable charges for when he is about to start his Phase 2. Once Fuoco reaches a certain HP threshold, he will do an undodgeable attack towards the middle of the arena and start his Phase 2. During the animation of Phase 2 beginning, I'm going to use my Fable art and stagger the boss for big damage, effectively shortening Phase 2 as much as possible. However, in this fight, I managed to stagger him before using our Fable art, which actually resulted in a longer and scarier Phase 2. Anyway, here it is. I'll just let you guys watch it. Sandcastle. And nosebleed? That sucks. Ineffective. What's up, Polly? Thanks, Polly. Building destruction references. Oh shit, what are we taking down, dude? What you breaking? Your mom? Okay. Oh, I forgot. Okay. Stop, you little bitch. We managed to take down Fuoco, even with bad RNG, and continue our way through the Moonlight Town towards the Chapel and Andreas. But because we didn't kill the Survivor boss located inside Vanini Works, we were forced to then fight the Atoned who was guarding the rail cart to the church. Luckily for us, her AI can be abused and leashed similar to donkeys, and we can easily take advantage of this with puppet string backstabs. We take care of the Atoned very easily, hop in the rail car, and head towards the church. Inside the church, we are forced to navigate the rafters, but we can safely do this by using thermites that we have been picking up along our journey to take down some of the bigger, scarier enemies throwing poison balls at us. We throw the giant bowl of fire off of the top floor and manage to safely get through the rafters and grab the shortcut at the top before returning to the Stargazer. We can now go down underneath the previously covered poison floor because we pushed the fire pot on it. Inside this secret room is directions for a short fetch quest that results in us get quartz. Before doing the fetch quest, however, we return to the hotel to set up our levels, 11 capacity and 25 technique. We quickly do some running around and then return to the hotel with our new quartz. We're going to choose to increase the length of the stagger window and slot our quartz to deal more damage when our weapon's at full durability. This extra damage buff, combined with our new levels, is going to be enough to take down a green carcass elite back at the church. After we slot our quartz, we level our booster glaive to +2 and put a technique crank on it. We return to the church and head toward the green carcass elite. With all of our quartz slotted, our setup for the kill is pretty simple actually. We just buff our weapon with fire since Carcass is weak to it, and then we do 2 fully charged heavy attacks, followed by a full Fable Art. This will cause significant damage, but not quite enough to kill. We will backtrack to the door and finish off the elite from a safe distance with a couple well-placed throwing cells for the easy kill. We are rewarded with a Krat supply box that is going to unlock some items for us back at the shop. For now, though, we continue forward and move through the rest of the church until we find Aliadoro. A very important NPC in our run, Aliadoro will sell us boss weapons as well as boss amulets, which will be a main part of our damage output. We talked to Aliadoro to pick up 2 different amulets. These amulets are the Conquering Amulet, which increases damage dealt after a successful parry, as well as the Modification Amulet, which will give us a damage boost based on how many Fable Art bars we have filled. Very good amulets here. We finish with Aliadoro and unlock the Andreas boss fight. But before we head into the boss, we will want to return to the hotel for the upgrades to our shop. The shop will now sell us another quartz, as well as infinite hidden moonstones. We're gonna grab enough shards so that we can level our weapon up to a +5 for Andreas, as well as slot a few more quartz. At the P organ, I finish increased stagger time by slotting lower stamina consumption while discharged, our second buff to having no pulse cells. I also choose to unlock retaining guard regain. This doesn't necessarily do anything good for my hitless run in particular, but there is good reasoning for choosing it. The P organ only unlocks new sets of abilities every time the player completes 2 abilities. However, abilities in the early sets, just like the one we are choosing now, retaining guard regain, only require us to spend 2 quartz to complete, whereas some of the newer abilities in the later sets take 3 quartz to complete. Since I want to unlock the later sets of abilities as fast as possible, which have abilities that I actually want, I choose to unlock all the cheapest options so that we can get our 4th set of unlocks faster. Anyway, I slot the quartz in fully charged heavy stagger attack, and then we head to Andreas. I'm sorry if that was confusing, guys. Andreas himself was a major problem for me during this whole run that we've been doing for the past 3 months. I would say this boss caused more resets than any other boss during my attempts getting this run done. Whether it was a bad dodge timing on my behalf or Andreas would have a weird animation bug happened, it seemed like I had found every single way possible to lose a run to this guy. Well, let's hope it doesn't happen here today, guys. Let's take a look at the fight. What's up, Adrian? Good to see you, man. I probably should have rolled there. I got lucky there. After taking down Andreas, it really starts to feel like the run is underway. After getting past such a mental block of the run, it always feels good to get by it. But sadly, we still have a ton of the game left, so we have no room to feel comfortable for too long. We head out of the Andreas fight and start towards the Malum District. Malum District doesn't really have too much going on in it. We mostly just run through it, avoiding all of the encounters on the way. One thing to note is this scripted trap near the end of the running section. This trap is unavoidable, and it doesn't cause any damage to the player, so we do not count this instance in the run as a hit, because again, it is unavoidable. Once we finish with the running section, we return to the hotel to prepare for the Black Rabid Brotherhood fight. The BRB boss fight is a very, very scary, difficult fight for our hitless run, so we need to set up for it. First, we talk to Aliadoro and receive our main weapon for the rest of the run, the Trident. We level it to +2 and throw a technique crank on it. We also head to the P-Organ to slot a quartz we picked up during the Malum District running section. We're gonna choose to unlock more throwable items that we can hold at once. This is an extremely important thing to unlock for the Black Rabid Brotherhood fight because it's going to allow us to perform a certain strategy with throwable items. Throwable items in Liza P can be very, very strong if used correctly. The merchant at the end of Malum District actually sells us infinite amounts of throwable items. So as long as we have the Ergo, we can come back here indefinitely. We're gonna make sure that we have full 4 shot puts as well as 4 cluster grenades. And then we're gonna make sure that we have a full 6 throwing cells, thermites, as well as carcass fluids. My strategy for the fight here is pretty simple. I'm gonna use throwables on the big brother until the first sibling spawns in. I'm then going to wait for the big brother to do a rushing attack, which tends to happen once every 15 to 20 seconds. After this rush attack takes place, there's a small safe window where I can punish the younger sibling without worrying about being punished by the big brother's rush attack since it's on cooldown. Sadly, there is only one attack I really feel comfortable enough punishing, so we spend quite a bit of time kiting the enemies in the arena in a circle to wait for this opportunity. A backstab wake-up charged attack is enough to take down the youngest sibling, which then leaves us back to a 1v1 with the oldest sibling. We then throw more throwables at him to push the spawn of the next sibling. The next sibling we deal with, much like the first one, but are more free to punish more attacks with backstabs instead of waiting out a very specific attack. We deal with the second sibling pretty easily, and we prep for the final sibling appearance. Now, the final sibling is the huge problem on this run. He has many attacks that will simply catch our character if we try to run away from him. This means I'm going to have to perform a strategy that will nuke him before he even gets a chance to attack us. The strat is 4 cluster grenades to keep him from moving. These clusters will actually cause mini staggers to the younger sibling, as well as building up overall poise damage. Once we throw the clusters, I swap to shot push, which will actually proc a full stagger on the sibling, allowing us to take him down without him even getting a chance to move. To perform the strat correctly, we have to wait for the eldest brother to do an attack with a large cooldown animation, so that the sibling spawns in between us. If the eldest isn't in an animation, he will run towards me while the younger sibling spawns in, effectively blocking our throwable stunlock strat in the process. In this attempt, I accidentally spawned in the last sibling at the wrong time, but we got a bit lucky that the eldest decided to idle. This fight had a lot that can go wrong, so getting through it is always a sign that we got a good run going. After finishing the Black Rabid Brotherhood fight and returning to the hotel, we slot our quartz for more damage on our fatal attacks because the next boss we will only be doing backstabs against. We also level our technique to 30, and we head out to Rosa Isabella Street to take on the White Lady. White Lady is an extremely scary boss who has the ability to parry any single one of our attacks. This, however, is a problem for us because getting parried, even if she doesn't take the riposte, would end our run immediately. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait out a very, very specific attack to backstab instead. Basically, what you want to do is wait for the white lady to perform a running poke attack. Once she performs this attack, it'll give you, the player, enough time to kind of run in and close the gap between you and her safely so that you don't get insta-poked. While you close the gap safely, you want to kind of be strafing around her right-hand side until she performs another poke attack. During the second poke attack, you want to really get behind her, and that will cause her AI to do a little hop animation. Now, this hop animation can either go left or right, and personally, I only feel comfortable when she hops to the left, to our left. So I basically just rinse and repeat what I just said, this strategy for the entirety of the fight. It takes a long time, but it's very safe if you know what you're doing. But yeah, that's pretty much the fight. Alright, GG. You repeat this process a few more times, and the white lady falls, allowing us to move on to the theater. I'm also really lucky that we were able to skip past the clown boss, as I can safely just throw a shot put to stun him as we run by. This stun is long enough for us to light the Stargazer, gain a bit more of distance, and then safely pocket watch back to said Stargazer, effectively skipping the clown encounter. We quickly navigate the theater, housing the boss fight Romeo, King of Puppets. This boss has a very scary attack in Phase 2, where he lights his sword on fire and dashes towards the player in a fury of attacks. Instead of dodging this very scary attack, I'm going to have shot puts ready to deal stagger damage to Romeo and stun him out of the attack. I know, right, Blanks? I'm fucking scarred for life, bro. Hey, Kefir, how are you? Jazzy's here. What's up, Jazzy? Just waiting for an attack so we can start here. A little weird. There we go. Hi, Army. How's your day? Good to see you, man. Hate that attack. He's scary. We finish off the King of Puppets and head off towards the arcade. The arcade is filled with tons of enemies, as well as a lot of mini-bosses. Dealing with the first Carcass Elite is pretty straightforward. I just throw 6 thermites to cause his scripted attack sequence to trigger at around half HP, and then we just finish him off with a few more attacks with the trident. After taking down the Elite, we continue our way through and meet another vendor who has an amulet that we actually want to buy from him. This amulet is going to give us more resistance to disruption, which will help in a specific spot in the run later. We then do a set of precise throws against the Jester puppet to avoid him altogether from this exact spot here. Pretty smooth section here, not too much to say about it other than we just keep on moving until we get to the gallery. The exhibition gallery has a ton of pretty tough sections, as well as these sections that are trivialized by throwables. It does, however, require a level of precision as consistent as it is. The rafters are really nerve-wracking with all the different types of enemies pressuring you as you try to get through. Eventually, we do get past the rafters and we're met with the boss fight, Victor. Before we fight Victor, we return to the hotel to quickly slot our quartz. I choose amulet slots, which will eventually give us our 4th amulet slot. I slot my quartz to get more damage when we have no pulse cells, which is our 3rd upgrade to having 0 pulse cells. I also choose to slot more ergo from eliminating enemies. We leave the hotel and head back to the gallery for our encounter with Victor. Victor as a boss is pretty straightforward. I don't actually parry any attacks from him, and I focus on my positioning with dodging. My position will dictate the types of follow-ups and combos Victor will give us, and I'd rather play it safe than too aggressive here. Hi Peony, I'm focused. I hope you had a good day.
If you want to succeed in love, you have to gift each other subs, yeah.
After taking care of Victor and leaving the gallery, we talk to the Red Fox and Black Cat and give them some gold fruit. We want to make sure that we give them fruit each time we find them from this point forward so that we don't have to fight them at the end of the game, as this would be very bad for our hitless run. We give them the gold fruit, and then we take the tram car into the swamp. Yup, a swamp, because every one of these games has to have a swamp. The Barren Swamp is one of the longer running sections of the game, with lots of enemies that we need to eliminate as we progress through it. There are also a ton of enemies we deal with, and it's kind of a slog getting through here. Eventually, though, we do make it to Aliadoro, who is hanging out in the swamp for some reason. We grab the Arm of God amulet from him, as this amulet will increase our damage the more we land consecutive attacks. A very good amulet. After a bit more running sections with some giant boulders, we do eventually make our way to the top of the swamp's tower and disable a ballista overlooking the swamp area, as we are going to fight 2 overworld Puppet of the Future bosses for their quartz. We get our quartz pretty easily after taking out the Puppets of the Future, and then we return to the hotel to slot our quartz before we take on the boss of the swamp. At the hotel, we finish upgrading the 4th amulet slot, giving us access to wear 4 amulets. To do this, we slot our quartz in faster weapon durability recovery. We also start on extra Fable Art slots by slotting a quartz into more damage done with Fable Arts. We return to Barren Swamp to take on the Green Monster. Not too much to say about this boss, you just gotta know the boss. We do equip our new amulet so we can get more damage on our parries, as this boss has a ton of unblockable attacks that will force us to parry them. We have a really good encounter with the Green Monster. Overall, he gave us a good set of attacks with very few scary instances. Exiting out of the swamp, we actually are spit back out of Kratz Central Station where we started the game. However, it's a bit different now. The station is now littered with different mobs and a lot of corruption. Navigating the train carts in the station itself now is much more scary and precise. Nearing the end of this area, there is a giant green carcass monster that holds a very important amulet, the Murderer Puppets amulet. This will increase our damage dealt to human enemies, so it's a very strong amulet for us to get. My strat to deal with the mini-boss is pretty simple. We're literally just going to toss every single throwable in the entire game at him until he staggers, and then we just take the riposte. It's pretty simple there. Pretty simple. Nearing the end of the station, we encounter Robber Weasel, but we just run past him until he de-aggroes next to the Stargazer. At the Gazer, we use one of our Trinity keys to unlock the door, giving us the Carrier's Amulet +1, which allows us to carry more gear. This ring isn't important right now, but it's going to play a huge role later on in the run. Exiting the station, we are met with the final green carcass enemy of the run, which we do a simple double-charged attack into full Fable Art combo, plus a throwable to take care of him. We enter into Collapsing Krat, and equip the ring we bought earlier that increases our resistance to disruption. This area is filled with pillars that give off the effect Disruption, which will insta-kill us if the meter builds all the way up. It's really important to note that we also take off all of our equipment here as well so that we are moving at the fastest speed possible. If you're under 30% equipment load in this game, you will achieve this ideal speed. Running through Collapsing Krat, we are met with a green headbanging carcass, who we do a full Fable Art combo into 3 shot puts to stagger him, and then we take care of him after that. In the next building is the boss of the area, the Walker of Illusions. Inside the building is also a chest that's going to allow us to expand the shop's inventory back at the hotel. We return to the hotel before tackling the boss to set up. First, we talk to Aliadoro for the final time, getting the Twin Dragon Sword, which we will save for later. For now, we're going to trade in our new item box and purchase 3 full Moonstone, allowing us to fully upgrade our Trident to +5. We also level our Technique all the way to 40. These numbers are very important for the next boss, as it's going to allow us to perform a scripted kill. We slaughter a Quartz, giving us more buffed weapon time when using our Grindstone. We head back to Collapsing Krat to take on the Illusion. For the Illusion, we are going to perform a scripted kill. A scripted kill is basically a kill that will work no matter what without fail, as long as we do the correct inputs. With all of our P-Organ upgrades slotted in this specific way we've been slotting them all run, along with our amulets for optimal damage, we're able to perform this kill on the Illusion. Let's take a look. We exit the Illusion fight and are immediately met with another forced encounter with the corrupted Parade Master. The Parade Master is a take on the tutorial boss, except with a much more complex moveset. We're going to take advantage of a move that the Parade Master does and wait for it to happen. The Tantrum attack has an extremely long cooldown after it's performed, so I'm going to take this time to unleash a ton of damage. This damage is going to be enough to send the boss into a scripted attack where he summons a mob, allowing me more time to get away after dealing a large chunk of damage. I was also able to toss a thermite at his ad that he spawned to take it out without any issues. I simply then just wait for the Tantrum attack again and finish off the boss with no problems at all. Oh, he's still alive. After getting back to the hotel, we learn about Geppetto's kidnapping and get ready to take on the Black Rabbit Brotherhood for the second time. Remember the Carrier Amulet +1 we got a while ago? This is where it's going to come into play. I'm going to level my capacity so that I can wield my weapon and a couple of amulets during the Black Rabbit Brotherhood fight, while at the lowest equipment weight threshold. The reason we need to be at the lowest threshold is because of one of the brothers. The Maniac has many attacks that will normally roll catch our player if we try to dodge them or run away from them. However, if we're under 30% weight, we can actually outsprint a lot of these attacks. Since we can outrun every single attack, I can simply wait until aggro changes on each of the brothers to backstab them and chip them down this way relatively safely. If I wasn't able to be at under 30% equipment load for this fight, we would have major issues. It's also really important to note that I have to hide behind the obstacles in the arena whenever the Maniac brother isn't the one aggroed to us. The reason is because his ranged attack could instantly hit us within just a couple frames of the animation starting. It's really hard to dodge and see coming, and the only way to really consistently dodge it is to be sprinting or hiding behind something. This fight has a ton of stuff to manage, separate timers that you have to be aware of, and of course you have to be really careful of the brothers chasing you themselves. All in all, this is the scariest fight by a long shot for this run, and it is really hard. After running around the arena for what seems like an eternity, I do eventually manage to backstab the Maniac brother enough to take him out. However, we still have to take down the 2 other brothers, as well as the older brother whenever he spawns. Whenever there's only 2 of the brothers left, however, it's much easier, and we can simply just wait for aggro to change and then backstab punish until they're done. We take out both of the brothers at the same time so that we can have a simple 1v1 with the eldest brother whenever he comes into play. The eldest brother we can actually cheese on this mound of garbage bags in the arena, as his AI gets stuck on it as he tries to engage us. We can then just wait for certain combos and chip him down to eventually take him out for the easy kill. Leaving the Black Rabbit Brotherhood arena, we take a submarine to the final area of the game, the Alchemist Island. Upon arriving at the island, we have to take down the Door Guardian, a gimmick boss that makes the player attack its leg and deal enough damage to cause it to topple over, allowing you to take a riposte for massive damage. Here was the boss. Door Guardian was guarding the entrance to Ark Abbey. The Abbey is by far the longest running section in the game and the most lethal. If something were to go wrong in the run, it would be here. There is danger around every single corner. Before tackling it, I returned to Malin District to stock fully up on throwable items. I also returned to the hotel and slot my quartz into more fatal attack damage. We then returned to the Abbey to start the climb up. The first task is taking down a giant carcass elite. I am going to use the ballista to stagger it, allowing me to punish with a full Fable Art combo. Moving forward, we run past two giant carcass monsters towards a ladder, taking us further into the level. It's mostly a slow crawl at this point, and as I want to be very careful this far into the run, I'm definitely not taking any chances here. There's a really precise strat we have to perform on this ledge. Below us is a trap, caused by a blob emitting poison on the ground. Beside the blob on the ground are mobs guarding a ladder that we need to climb. I'm gonna pop a resistance potion so that the poison doesn't proc on me, as this would count as a hit caused by a trap. During this time, I'm gonna do a plunge attack on the green carcass enemy into a Fable Art combo to take it out. It's also worth noting I need to be careful not to land in a certain part of the terrain as it dips a bit lower than the rest of the platform. If we hit the dip in the low spot, the difference will be enough to kill us upon falling. To avoid this chance, I'm also going to set up my amulets so that we can be light load under 30%, as this will result in less fall damage taken. We continue forward, eliminating most of the enemies that we come by. Again, it's a really slow crawl here this far into the run. Eventually, we meet the Black Cat for the final time, and we give the gold fruit to him so we don't have to fight. We pass the Black Cat is a pretty scary mini-dungeon that we need to navigate to find a lever that opens a door leading out. However, there are a ton of scary enemies that are guarding and patrolling the lever. I came up with a really cool strat on the run here using an item called Cat Dust. The item makes it harder for enemies to see us. Using this item, I backstab a nearby enemy while getting attacked by a jester. The jester, however, runs past us while we are in the middle of the backstab animation, striking the other elite mob that was chasing us to begin with. This causes both of those elite mobs to fight each other, leaving us free to pull the lever and safely pocket watch back to the Stargazer. Geez, I can't talk today, guys. We move a bit more into the level past this dungeon and are eventually met with an elevator leading to the boss of the area, Luxatia. Before taking on Luxatia, I return to the hotel to level up a weapon for this encounter. The weapon is the Twin Dragon Sword. I'm choosing this weapon because I have a script for Phase 2. Again, a script is basically a strategy that will work 100% of the time if performed correctly. Not having to fight her Phase 2 is a huge deal, as it's definitely one of the scariest fights out there. In Phase 1, I'm going to take it really slow and punish with pokes that I know are safe. But once Phase 2 hits, guys, it is go time. The strat in Phase 2 is pretty simple, actually. All you want to do is deflect her 6 lightning balls back at her, and then do a fully charged parry attack, which is unique to the Twin Dragon Sword. The fully charged R2 attack will parry her lunge, and then we're going to do another fully charged R2 attack afterwards. We're then going to spend all of our Fable Art, and this damage is going to be enough to cause a stagger. And after that stagger, we're going to take the riposte, and it's going to be enough damage to actually finish her off in one false swoop. After defeating Luxasia, I'm actually feeling really nervous. Before this point, Luxasia had previously been my distance PB, which is the furthest I had ever made it on the run. I really didn't want to spoil this opportunity to get this run done, so I dial it in. The final running section is comprised of many scary mobs that we can actually simply just run by, or use a shot put to stagger them as we pass them. Halfway through the running section, we pick up the Assassin's Amulet in this chest, which gives us more of a chance to land critical attacks. Since the Trident is already a critical-based weapon, this amulet pairs really well with it. We're going to use this against Manus, which is the final boss fight. My plan for Manus is to play it really slow and bait out combos that I know are safe. There's not really a lot to say other than you need to know this boss really well before going in. It's a really tough boss to do consistently. With everything else out of the way, I check my amulet and my setups one final time and enter the final boss fight with Simon Manus.
Let's fucking go, dude. Let's fucking go, man.
Oh, it's done. It is fucking done, dude. Oh, man. Oh, it feels so good. This run really took a lot out of me. I spent roughly 3 months working on this challenge. So if you enjoyed the video and made it all the way through to the end, consider subscribing, as I do a lot of similar challenges just like this one. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always, have a good day. I can't even hold my controller because of how fucking wet my hands are, man. Just the fuck up, Geppetto.